Okay, down in Texas and in Florida, as well as offshore in the Caribbean, the cleanup is underway, and of course, here in this country in Puerto Rico as well. But I have some thoughts about, in particular, the cleanup that's going on in Texas. There's an angle to this that is worth reflecting on, and it is this. In the Washington Post recently, there was an article headlined, quote, "If they deport all of us, who will rebuild," end quote. Undocumented workers could be the key to Texas recovery. Now, the theme of the story was this, that there's going to be so much work to do rebuilding in the Houston area that they better stop being so aggressive about deporting undocumented immigrants in that part of the country, because they're going to need the labor. Now, the article presents itself as kind of a liberal perspective on all this, I would say. It certainly tells compassionate stories about the immigrants who would be affected by this, and yet it is a little troubling. In terms of the perspective of the immigrants, they quote one undocumented worker saying, "If they deport all of us, who will rebuild? We do more for less." And it goes on to say that quote, Executive Vice President of the Houston Contractors Association, quote, "If they would relax the rules," meaning the immigration rules, "honestly, that would be great. We could use it," meaning use the human beings who would be affected by it. He goes on to say, "The truth is there are not a lot of people jumping up and down to do civil construction work in Texas. It's hot, and these jobs are pouring concrete, or worse, hot asphalt. That's the reality of it. We need more people than ever." Now, the cynicism of that is kind of breathtaking when you think about it. We've got people now calling for an end to aggressive deportations that they themselves, in most cases, almost certainly supported, and they're doing it because it is in their financial self-interest. Now, in case you think this is exclusively a Texas phenomenon, there is a related story from the Albany, New York Times Union. ICE, that's ICE, the immigration group, ICE returns to Saratoga, arresting 8 from Mexico. The thrust of this story is that immigration officials stayed out of Saratoga as long as the Saratoga Springs racetrack was in season, as long as the horse races were going on, because they needed workers there as well. Now, once we start thinking of workers who are human beings as disposable, we have lost an essential element of our humanity and our decency. We should be looking at these workers as future Americans or current Americans or contributing members to our society. These are reasons to keep them. But because you need their labor now and you're going to throw them away later, that is monstrous.